Hi, my name is Cassie Davy, and this is my video of the projects that I've worked on this semester. This first picture is my montage that I turned in, and this was actually one of my favorite assignments because it's something that I always wanted to learn how to do. I've never used Photoshop or Illustrator or InDesign before, but I had seen people and how they edited and masked things and have always really wanted to learn how. So I was really excited for this assignment. And for not really knowing what I was doing, I was really proud of this first one. But I did notice that I made a mistake right here when it came to the color of the font. The effect is really cool, but it just doesn't stand out the way that I wanted to. So I did change my montage project to this. I decided to go with a completely new quote and use a similar idea, but change things up a little bit. The one eye was kind of just like floating, so I decided to do a whole face. And then I kept the temple and the eye, but I did change the picture of the temple, and I pulled out the blue from the eyes for this font up here. And then, like I said, I did change the wording of the quote. But I still am proud of both of my montage projects, especially considering where my skill or level was with the first one to where it ended with the second one. And then the next project that we did was the business identity. So these would be the three logos that I turned in, and then this one right here with the wings is the one that I would use as my final for the rest of my projects throughout the semester. I like these. The only thing is for the wing and the little person's head right here, I had drawn them on paper and then just scanned them in, and that has given it like the pixelated grainy feel. So I did redo those, and I learned how to draw those myself, rather like on Illustrator rather than just in paper. And I also changed the color scheme. I used the color scheme that I came up with later in the semester during the brochure project, and I changed the fonts to the same fonts that I used in the brochure as well. So these are the old logos, and this is my new logo that I designed for this. So the colors, like I said, came from my brochure project, and then I added the little Greek design underneath Athena to like pull it all together. And my business identity project was for a female athletic company like Nike or Under Armour, but just for women. And so I tried to find a symbol like these wings that you could take away everything else with it and it could still be memorable. Like Nike has their swish and Under Armour has their little shape. So that is what I wanted to go for with that. And the business identity project at the time was one of my favorites, but looking back, I realized how much I enjoyed thinking of all of the deep symbolism that goes with everything, like figuring out this is what the wings mean and choosing the name because of the Greek goddess Athena and what she stands for and how that could work with sports. I also changed my business cards. I'll zoom on that in just a minute. I did leave, this was the letterhead I turned in, and I left it the same just because I don't think that one is terrible. I also don't think it's the best. But letterheads are just not something that we use all the time, so I didn't focus on that as much. So these are my old business cards. I have the old logo, the old little head that I drew, and so to change it, I mainly just updated it with my new logo and the new colors. So this, like I said, the new logo up here, still got the tagline right there. And then to make it more unified, the front and the back of the card, I carried the circle on the other side and the Greek designs. I also updated the color and illustrated my own little figure down here, and I changed the color of this informative font down there. The next project that we did was the web page. So this is my old web page. And the colors are kind of boring. They don't exactly like make it pop. It looks a little like dated. And one critique that I did get when I got the ruler back from this project was that the text was too close to the edges, and there needed to be more graphics and design elements. So with my new web page, I really tried to work on that. I tried to make sure that everything was off of the edge, and then I added graphic design elements and little images that I drew, like all of these sports symbols right here. So you click on one of these and it will take you to the page about volleyball or the page about soccer. And then I've got the logo, places, and the new color scheme. Next, we worked on our brochures. So my brochure layout I actually really liked and I didn't change a ton of. The biggest problem with me and my project for the brochure was that it did not fold well. So what I was trying to do is this was the cover and you fold it in half and then it opens up and I had built a pocket inside that held the rest of the pages as their own individual flyers. So that if you were just interested in volleyball or soccer, you just took that flyer instead of the whole thing, but that worked way better in my head than it did in real life. So this is the original layout. That's the front. This is the first page, second page, the third page, the fourth one, and the last page. And then this is my new brochure layout. So it actually folds into one circle that you can then, like accordion style, fold out and have this little string of circles. And I left, like I said, most of the layout the same. I did try and go through and clean up my masking on the different images. Right there is still a little rough, but she's a lot better, and a lot of the other images are as well. I also tried that outline. I should have gotten rid of that. But I also tried to get rid of the low quality images when it came to the gear that I was selling to just make it look more professional and well done. So this would be the back side of that first part. But all of the sports still, and I just changed the way that it would be folded. And then the next and our final project was the magazine. So I actually was really proud of this one. And it would be my all-time favorite project just because it was me finally getting to put all of my skills together and see what I had learned for the end of the semester. And it was really nice to see what it looked like, especially when I printed it out. I was just really proud of myself and I didn't have to use as much tutor or YouTube help, and I thought that was exciting. So this is the original cover, and then I did make a couple of changes. I left aligned all of the font and then I changed it to white. I know it looks a little rough on here, but because I do have what it looks like printed, the red and the white do stand out better than they look like here. And then I used a little self-timer to get the front image. I know we didn't have to still do self-portrait, but I wanted to give it a try, and I had a tripod. So then we'll go to the inside of my magazine. This is the original. It's a little busy, but I wanted to not do the classic enzyme layout just because I thought a lot of people were going to, and I wanted to try and mix it up. But if you do notice, I made a big mistake and forgot about these hyphens in here. So I went in and changed all of that. There are no hyphens, and I did clean it up a little bit. I got rid of the blue arrows and the blue background so that it's not the traditional layout, but it's not quite as busy and hard on the eyes either. I also tried to make sure that the text alignment was better and there was no text like right on the edge or right in the fold. And I updated the picture of President Watson so it's not so pixelated. This is my back cover of the magazine. I didn't change it at all. I liked the way that it looked. This semester I really thought that I grew when it came to choosing my fonts and what ones went well together and coming up with a more developed color scheme. I also improved realizing that I need to use white space. I do think over the semester I succeeded when it came to being creative and trying to think of new ideas, whether it was for the brochure or even just my business identity project with the symbolism and what everything else meant. And my big takeaway from this semester is that you have to give yourself time. The more time you give yourself on your design, a lot of the times the better it is when you're not in a rush and when you can set it aside and make time to come and look at it with fresh eyes. And I also thought that it's important to remember to try and keep your style true to yourself, but to know that you're always making a client happy and remembering if they want the many images, that's what you've got to do. And I'm maybe a little true that I enjoy the business part more, the coming up with the campaigns and even getting really into the magazine idea and the business identity idea and breaking it down rather than the design. But I really enjoyed this semester and I'm proud of my projects and am grateful for all of the things that I learned.